it's Natalie from CustomCrafts.com, and I bet you're wondering why I'm sitting today. And the reason is that I'm sitting in this fancy director's chair that has a very fancy backing to it. Let me get up and I'll show you. This is part of our holiday video series, and it is a burlap cover that we've created using our Silhouette SD. We created a stencil using the Cricut stencil material. Really cool product. You can do all sorts of creative things with it. And we created these chair covers for my dining room table. You'll see it all put together in our Christmas or our holiday video series. This says, "Good tidings of great joy." And the cool thing about the Silhouette SD is that you can use any font that is on your computer in your font library. So I was able to download a free font, and it was a little bit holiday-ish, and I really liked it, and I was able to put the letters wherever I wanted to, and I made a really cool stencil. So I'm going to be showing you how to cut the burlap and then do the stencil. We've tied a little bit of holiday ribbon around there, and on the back side of the chair, we have just tied a bow, and we're able to hang some really cool glittery acorns. So you'll see that sitting next to the dining room table. So let's get started. We'll create our stencil, and then we'll move on to putting it into use. So we're going to be creating our file for our chair covers, and I'm going to be using RoboMaster, which is the software program for the Quick Cuts Silhouette SD. So we're going to come up here and we're going to File and New. And this is where you can specify your user size, and I've specified already an 11 by 8 inch document, and I'm on landscape format. And you can specify your user size by clicking this button here and changing the width and length of your document. So then this is my document that I've created, and if you go up here to view, this gives you all kinds of options for what you're seeing, and I'm going to view grid because then that can tell me exactly where to place my letters and how big my letters are. So to insert text, I'm going to click on this text tool over here, and then that brings up a box where you can choose your font and you can type in what your words are. So we're going to be using a font called Saint Nick. And what's great about the Silhouette SD again is that it allows you to cut any font that you have loaded in your computer's library. So we're going to go down to St. Nicholas, and then that brings up a preview here. And I'm going to type in my first word, which is good. And I've already created this before, so I know that the height of this word is going to be 2.82 inches. And you can control that in this box right here. So when I hit OK, that will give me my word. Good. Now, the other great thing about the Silhouette is that you can do this little trick where you copy and paste the words, and that will give you the option of cutting the word multiple times. So when you're working with your Cricut Expression or your Cricut machine, you can do preferences and you can do a multi-cut or 3 times cut, 4 times cut. What you do here is your Control-C, which is copying your word, and then Control-V, which is pasting. And now you see that the word has turned yellow, and that means that it will cut this 2 times. You can do it as many times as you want, depending. We're going to be using the stencil material today, so I always do a 3 times. So I'm just going to Control-C again, and then Control-V. So this word will be cut 3 times. Now we can move on to our next word, which is tidings. So I'm just going to type that in. And that height is going to be 1.36. Okay, so you see I've got tidings here. Now the other great thing about this program is that you can place this word wherever you'd like to. So that fancy way of where I laid the words out, that's another great capability of this program. So you can put it wherever you want on the sheet. And then I'll continue to just lay out the rest of my words, and I'll show you that as soon as I get everything put on the sheet here. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the keyboard shortcuts, you can always use the menu at the top. So I've got Tidings highlighted, and you can go to Edit, Copy, and then Edit, Paste. And it will be the same exact thing as your Control C, which is copy, and your Control V, which is paste, keyboard shortcuts. And it turns yellow. That's how you know that you've copied and pasted it successfully. So we're going to just lay our other words out on our page here, and I'll show you that when I get that done. All my words are laid out on my page here, and I'm just going to show you the last technique that I've used. This word great, I'm going to tip it up on so that it's vertical, but I need to click on the left-hand corner. There's a little red box. So if you just click that, it will turn into a red circle. And then if you go up to the other corner here, you'll notice that your little hand turns into a circle with 2 arrows on either end. And if you hold down your mouse button, you can tip that word up on its end. Just like that. And then you can move your word wherever you want to on your page. And then again, we're going to Control C and Control V, or copy and paste, so that we're sure that this gets multi-cut as well. So if I Control C, I'm copying, and then Control V, I'm pasting, and my word has turned yellow. And then I'm just going to do it one more time, Control C, Control V, so that my word gets cut 3 times. And then we're ready to load our mat and our Cricut stencil material into the Silhouette SD. So if you go up here to the top menu bar, you'll click on this icon and Craft Robo comes up. And then another box will come up just telling you that you're going to be cutting on your Silhouette SD. You're going to hit OK. And then this is the Craft Robo controller, which is basically the settings for your machine. And if you click the top menu bar here, this allows you to select the kind of media you're cutting. So if you're cutting stencil material or you're just cutting cardstock, I usually, for stencil material, hit select what's called magnet sheet, just because it's asking you to use the pink blade adjustment cap, and then the speed is slow and the thickness is pretty thick, so it's cutting probably about as hard as it can, and it's cutting a pretty thick material. So those settings are good to cut Cricut stencil material. And then after you loaded your mat in, you just hit cut, and we can load our mat in now. So I'm getting ready to load my mat here, and I've just got this cover open because I wanted to show you that I do have the pink cap on the blade, and you can just pull your blade out by switching this little lever here, and that comes out, and I've got my pink cap on. There's also a yellow and a blue cap, and by using that little controller screen there, it'll tell you what cap you should have on. So you want to have your window over here say load with carrier, and that is because we're cutting something and we're using the mat. So you hit enter to load with carrier. Okay. And then I'm going to close this, and then we're ready to press cut on our computer screen, and you'll get to see the machine do its work. So our stencil has all been cut out. We're going to unload our media, so you just hit enter here. And when you load your stencil material, I didn't say this before, but you want to make sure that your lining side is on the sticky side of the mat. If you try to load it where the stencil material is face down, it won't stick to your mat. So you want to make sure your lining or your smooth side is down on your mat. Okay, and then we have our stencil all cut out.